All right, this is Boxing with the Truth, and I am the Truth. Today is July 5th, 2015, and the fireworks are over, but we have a gentleman here today who has produced a lot of fireworks in his career. We have Fast Eddie Chambers. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just getting ready to get back in there. Looking forward to it.
And just let me throw that out there that you actually are a former world heavyweight champion, correct?
Well, I fought for the world title. Actually, I did have a world title, but it wasn't, one of the majors. So I guess not, if you want to say technically, yes, but not, one of the four major ones, the recognizable ones. So they'll, that's going to be marred. Although I have been in the ring with the best fighters in the world, so okay. I guess that's somewhat like that.
Well,
but not quite.
Yeah, you actually held the IBU world heavyweight title, right?
Yeah, I had that before, yeah. But, it's like, I'm just like anyone, any other professional athlete. It's like, okay, you win a championship in a sport. I mean, in a sport, you want to make sure it's against the very best guys there. Don't get me wrong, the guy that I beat for the title was a tough guy, you know what I mean? But at this point in his career, now, and even then, he was still, at the time he was a prospect, but he would be a journeyman. You know what I mean? He wouldn't be a world level kind of guy. Although he was a tough guy, he wouldn't be a world level kind of guy. So it's kind of like, you could say, I was a world champion. Theoretically, yeah, you were. But until you hold one of those major titles, kind of not.
Okay, and you also held the USA Pennsylvania state title and the USBA heavyweight title as well.
Yes, I did. Yep. So I was a champion of America, which is nice. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a worldwide thing, man. And even if Americans hold the world title, you still got to kind of graduate up to that level. Which, at that point, I was still at that level. I was rated in the top 10. So it was just a matter of just getting the fights and getting in position. Okay,
now you are age 33 right now, right?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
And you're still out of Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Okay, and actually your pro record right now is 41 wins, 22 knockouts, and 4 losses, right?
Yep.
And you've actually been fighting pro since 2000.
Yeah, I've been pro since I was 18 years old. Yeah.
And just,
old now.
and just for some of the fans that don't know some of the guys on your resume, I'm just going to go down the list a little bit. I'm not going to go through the whole list because it's pretty long. But you've been in the ring with Derek Rossi twice, Dominic Gwynn, Kelvin Brock, Alexander Povetkin, is that how you say his name?
Yeah,
Raphael Butler, a guy here from Minnesota. Samuel Peter, obviously the world heavyweight champion Wladimir Klitschko, and you are one of the few men that can say you actually did make it to the 12th round. Even though you lost in the 12th round, not a lot of guys can say they made it that far with him.
Yeah, and it was me falling asleep at the wheel, kind of, with the whole thing and getting caught with that shot. It was just like, well, at the end of the fight, I'm not gonna win. You kind of let your guard down for a moment, and that's when it happens. Teach all kids out there, if you ever decide to, move into the boxing, into the boxing world, you can never ever relax completely. Just be relaxed in the ring, but don't relax, your mind too much, because what happens is, you relax too long, and you let the days go in one moment, that could be the end.
Okay, well, speaking of being in the ring with him, because you are one of the few guys that actually have gone almost a full 12 rounds. Because it was only, a few seconds left in the round?
Yeah.
So we might as well just say you went 12 rounds with him. What is the reason that nobody can seem to beat this guy? You've stood in the ring with him for 12 rounds. Why has he been the champion for so many years? Is it the fact that he is really that good, or is it the fact that the heavyweight division has declined in talent?
I really don't see that way. If you talk to some people, even some of the greats still say, they got to keep it kind of, keep it nice for people now, people of their era, and say, well, this is a weaker division, but in reality, you got to look at the evolution of not only, the evolution of not only the sport, but man in general. You look at a guy 6'7", about 250 pounds, And, in other sports, then you would say, okay, like basketball, you would be a basketball player with the athleticism and the ability to move and run at speeds that guys can do that are much smaller. But when you look at him, he's still able to, like I say, 6'7", he's able to still move, and he has the dexterity and he has the footwork that, a smaller guy would have, right? He's a little robotic, but it still works for him. You know what I mean? And you look at that, and this is what it is. This is what it is for me when I look at him and why he's so successful over these years too. He's right in a sweet spot for himself. Like where he has, like I say, he has pretty good athleticism. He can move and all of that. Where he's too big and really a little bit too strong for the smaller guys, but he's a little, but he's like right in the spot, like when the guys that are his size are probably just not mobile enough, not athletic enough. You know what I'm saying? They're almost like mummies standing in front of him, so he can kind of get over in that way. Whereas he can become a boxer. You know what I mean? With those big, slow guys, and then can also become, he can be, a little more of an aggressive kind of fighter with a smaller guy, lean his weight on him, and the fact that he has good footwork, he still can kind of keep distance because he's so tall and so long. So, plus he uses certain tactics, obviously, that he learned in his career to gain advantages over small guys in that way as well. So it's like I said, he's in a good, sweet spot for a guy his size with that kind of athleticism. And he can, and pretty much anyone he gets in the ring with is going to be, is going to have a hard enough time dealing with that, whether they're big or small. And with the exception of one fighter, which I'm pretty sure we'll talk about a little later.
Would that be Tyson Fury?
Yeah, I think so.
And I was actually going to bring him up next, so we can talk.
That's funny, right? I can't say just one. I mean, there's other guys. Don't get me wrong. That could be out there that could do some stuff. I mean, you never know. You know what I mean? Over guys who are aggressive, it can just be that night. Like a guy like myself, I feel like I'll have a much better shot with a better plan. Like on my team at the time, we were just looking at talent versus talent. You know what I mean? And just who's more coordinated and this and that. And of course, Wladimir is very coordinated. And he's a big guy, even though he's a little more stiff than than myself. But we were looking at, I'm better this way, I'm better that way. And that matters without a doubt. But it only matters when you both have an equal plan and you have succeeded and you've been on top for a long time, which we haven't. We, at that point, was just getting an opportunity to fight for a world title. Basically the plan was, you go in there and you beat him. You're better than him. You're supposed to beat him. Yeah, I'm better than him, but he's about 5-6 inches taller, about 35, 40 pounds heavier, and he's been a world champion for years. So you're not just going to walk in and just beat anybody like that. And that was what the problem was. But obviously with Tyson, it's going to be a total different,
All right, and let's talk about that for a minute. Apparently you have a new team. You're part of Team Fury, which involves Tyson Fury as well. And I know you're building a relationship with him. And your last 5 fights have actually been over in England. So right. Just so everybody's aware that you are actually part of Team Fury now, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've beyond just the boxing, we're good. We're close. You know what I mean? As far as like we're friends, they help me reinvent myself and get back into the sport really. Because I was honestly, just ready to walk away because there was just not a lot going on for me. There was a whole lot of opportunities. There's not a whole lot of opportunities for me to fight top opposition. You know what I mean? It was like, these guys would look at me like, well, first, a lot of networks didn't want me either because, they saw the one fight I had with the cruiserweight fight that I had with the South African kid, and it was just like, they just really they weren't no longer interested, and they were happy, beyond happy to sweep me under the rug. So that was what I was dealing with, so I was ready to walk away, and I went over to help Tyson get ready for David Hay, and they, and even before that, they were, Peter was a fan of the way I fought and how I was able to do certain things, but he also saw that there were a lot of things missing. Even when I came over to spar with Tyson, there was just a lot of things that were missing. I was basically a cruiserweight at the time, weight-wise, and he just saw the deficiencies, and he's like, look, you can do things at heavyweight. You don't have to go down because we don't have to do this. You can do things at heavyweight, and become world champion. There's no reason why you shouldn't have a world championship. So they invited me over, and start working with them. and went from there. They basically revitalized my career and brought me back from, just basically walking away from the sport.
So now, are you just going to continue to fight over in England? Do you feel, like you have a bigger fan base over there now that your careers has kind of been reestablished over there, or do you want to get back over here and fight some of these guys over here?
Well, the deal I just got with Al Heyman, of course, is going to bring me here. So I'm going to be training, I'm going to be fighting here. I'm going to try to do some training over it, obviously, with Peter and Tyson and everybody. Especially, obviously the guys in the heavyweight division are huge. So it wasn't better to have one of the best big men in the world to spar with and work with, and also have Peter giving you different ideas, and his training methods are extremely intense, and he has also different methods that are great for planning. Preparation for fighting heavyweights, big heavyweights versus small heavyweights. Just like I said, there's a great deal of science that goes along with it that people don't quite understand, and I think he kind of gets it. You know what I mean? So having that kind of a group to work with, as well as I also train at times with. I also been training with, like before when I was working with Peter. Before I worked with Peter was with James Bashir, who's also another guy who I've learned a great deal from. And this kind of information is stuff that I wish I had when I went in there with the heavyweight champion. It would obviously put me in a different position. Maybe I may have still lost, but I would have definitely had a better showing that night.
Okay, so you just brought up the fact that you just recently signed with Al Heyman. So is there any news coming up that you're possibly going to be on one of these shows that's coming up on the Premier Championship Boxing? Has there been any talks?
We've had some talks. Not too sure about exactly when, and I can't really obviously go into that because it's nothing etched in stone. But it's hopefully soon. You know what I mean? Even though I was pretty active last year, you realize this is now going into July of the next year. I haven't had a fight yet, so you know what I mean. It's tough, you know what I mean. And of course, trying to get this deal done, it takes a little while. Things don't. It's not like they just send you something and you sign it and that's it. You got to go over some things and make sure both parties can agree, and that and the third. So it took some time. So therefore, I'm still waiting to get in the ring. So, but as soon as it could possibly be done, I'll be looking forward to fighting. Hopefully, around the September, October time would be good. If not, even a little bit later. I'll just. One thing for me, I just want to make sure I'm in top shape and prepared to get out here and show the home fans what I can do as well. Not saying that I wasn't excited. I was extremely excited to fight in front of the UK fans. They're great fans. But of course, I'm from here, and I want to be able to show out here as well.
Okay, so now that you're focused back on boxing more and like the deal with the Al Heyman and all this, and so are you done commentating on the UK boxing TV channel, the Boxing Nation? Are you done with that?
No, I wasn't done with it. You know what I mean? I just even at the time when I was over there, I was when that even since I was in camp, I'd be in camp, and because we were always in camp. When I'm there, trust me, it was 24/7 camp. That's how we did it. Not 24/7, but let's say just 24/5. But anyway, we were always training. You know what I mean? So when we would take a day, you know what I mean, because as hard as we would train, we could take a day off. And I miss a beat, so I would go down and I would still do it then. So if I got a call or a deal or anything they wanted me to come and do some commentary, or get a cement studio, get guest commentary, anything. You know what I mean? I could definitely would still be interested. That's something that you can do when your career is over. You know what I mean? You can't. You know what I mean? It's not like you still got to go out there and swat punches with somebody. You know what I mean? You can talk about it forever. As long as you're alive, you can talk about it. So that's something I definitely want to get into and continue doing. Even throughout my career and even after I retire.
Okay, I want to bring up the heavyweight division now because I know you're kind of frustrated with it a little bit. And I want to talk about it a little bit about some of these guys. I know when you were coming up, there was no padded records. Guys were fighting, for pride. Guys were still fighting for money. I know it's a business. But there's a lot of guys, you look in the top 20 right now with undefeated records. They're not fighting anybody. A lot of them are coming out of, that heavyweight program, the U.S. heavyweight program and stuff. So what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, even the early 2000s on up, it wasn't so much padded records. I mean, there were obviously guys with undefeated records, and of course, nobody knows the first 10 to 15 guys you fought, even if there were a few tough fights in there for you. But nowadays, it's like you have the first 10 fights of your career all the way through till you get a title shot. Now it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? Guys are really fighting maybe one or two smaller, lower level name guys, and maybe throw a former champion that hasn't fought for 7 years in the mix too, and to give him a couple of hours to come back in and get a knockout record on his loss. I mean, a knockout loss on his record. It's like it's a little different. It's strange how this stuff happens, and then you have a bunch of these guys. A bunch of these guys all together. So when you match them up with another one of these guys, how can you tell the difference of who's really elite and who's really not? Because they're all fairly still new. Like they don't really have a lot of experience against top level opposition. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't like to name names, but I'm going to say a few. It's like when you look at Deontay's record, like, yeah, he's athletic, talented, got a lot of that, but he doesn't really have a lot of experience against real top level opposition. You know what I mean? The one guy he fought was Stavern, and then when you look at Stavern's record, two names that come to mind with his is Ray Austin and of course Chris Arreola. But aside from that, I gotta look at it. I haven't really looked at it much, but those are the two glowing names that I've seen from him. So you look at these two guys; they both are in that kind of that position where they haven't really fought a lot of top level elite competition, but they were both world champions. So it's like, man, it makes you shake your head. It's a little strange. You shake your head a little bit, like, how are these the best guys? But then you look over and you see certain guys, like you see, of course, Wladimir, obviously, he's come around a lot earlier than them. But then you look at guys like Tyson, and even you look at BWTT. He got a bit of, I think he got more tests coming up than they did. You understand what I'm saying? So, and then you can also see it when he fought Wladimir. He wasn't, a deer in the headlights or anything. He didn't get in there and just wasn't going in there just to make the fight interesting. He was going in there to win the fight. And I think you have to be against, you have to go up against that top level opposition to have that confidence going in against a world champion like a Klitschko or guys like that out there. And you also look at guys like Tyson, who early on in his career was fighting English level champions, and then also for the whole thing, he fighting like almost world level guys early in his career. So you have to kind of have that. You know what I mean? So when you step it up to the next level, you'll be well prepared, and you won't be, like I said, won't be a deer in the headlights. You won't be afraid to make a move. You won't be just standing in there and trying to figure out what to do. You'll be prepared. You know what I mean? You'll be ready to go.
Okay, now I know you've been in a 4-man elimination tournament before. Do you think that we need more of those type of tournaments in boxing to start separating some of the talent?
I think that would help. You know what I mean? I've little Super Sixes and things like that they had, like with in the super middleweight division. I think the 4-way tournaments, like with that I had when it was me, Alexander Kazek, Chris Bird, and Calvin Brock. All that was the cream of the crop. You know what I mean? At that moment, you know what I mean? There was still obviously these other great heavyweights out there, but those were the guys who they were expecting to be world champions right then. You know what I mean? Even if you heard Max Kellerman when me and Povetkin was in the ring, he mentioned that this was anything below say 225 pounds or around 225 pounds would have been for a heavyweight championship of the world. This was years back. That would have been the heavyweight championship. So it was like that was the cream of the crop at that moment. You know what I mean? So whoever won out of that was going to be prepared, because they had to be through a crazy a number of good heavyweights, even though it was a crazy number. It was, 2 fights, but still, those 2 fights will prepare you for a world championship level fight. And that's what I think that would help, at least, to give you a real idea of who's the best and who's not.
Okay, so if you go back over to England and get yourself a fight over there. I want to bring up 3 names and see what you think of these guys over there. Obviously, you're familiar with Anthony Joshua, right?
Yep, I've been hearing a lot about him.
Okay. Are you familiar with Lucas Browne?
Yes, I'm definitely familiar with him.
Okay, and David Price.
Yep, very familiar.
Would you want to fight one of those guys over in England?
Of course, I would love to fight one of those guys. That's an opportunity to get right into the mix again. Even though you look at Anthony Joshua, and I still think, though he has won impressively in all of his fights, obviously, it's still a situation where, once again, even though like Kevin Johnson, who has been an elite, at least up to an elite level fight for a world title and things like that, but that Kevin Johnson was obviously not the same Kevin Johnson that fought for that world title. He's had a different mindset. He's lost some fights to some other guys that you would not have said it was top, any kind of top competition or even a top prospect. So it kind of takes it doesn't take away from the win. He stopped him. He was the first guy to do that. Got to pat him on the back for that. He's great. However, I would still like to see him against somebody who is ready to fight, who's in their prime. I'm not saying that Kevin wasn't ready to fight, but I don't think at that level anymore. And he even said it himself. He said, "A guy with 12 fight stops for me. There's time to walk away from it." And if he had that in his head at any time, even after the fight, then there's obviously some of that still lurking even before it. You know what I mean? So when you look at Anthony Joshua, he's still a prospect. He's got a lot of ability, doing a lot of great things right now. However, he still has time to improve, and he should. You know what I mean? Well, of course, with the other guys that we're talking about, though, they're a little bit more into the contender level, and I feel like any of these fights will be good fights. But I think with the Lucas Browne and the fight that you mentioned, which in the David Price, or probably more because those guys were in position at one point. They have a little bit more experience as a professional to make interesting fights. Not saying that the Joshua fight wouldn't be interesting; it'd be very interesting. But it's just that it's a lot to for him especially. There's a lot to lose. With a guy like me, who most people say, "Oh, he's not what he once was. He's not this and he's not that." You know what I mean? There's a lot to lose there. And if he wins, they say, "Well, he wasn't. Like I said, he wasn't what he once was." So you go ahead and win. You know what I mean? He didn't really beat anybody. It was like another Kevin Johnson situation. It really wasn't that impressive. Although he'll get credit for it because it is once again a credible name. But it's just like, well, we didn't really expect much from him anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lose-lose to a degree. You're going to get some credit for it, but it's not that great. And for me, once again, losing to a fighter who's got 13 professional wins, although they're all by knockout and he was Olympian, it's still not supposed to happen if I'm still supposed to be one of the elite level fighters out here. So, it's just, it's a tough matchup to make for me and for him for both of us. But I think the other fights are a little bit more, makes a little bit more sense. You know what I mean? As far as the levels that we're at.
Okay, I want to bring something up, and maybe you can clarify what happened or didn't happen. In 2011, were you supposed to fight Tony Thompson?
2011. Yeah. Actually, I was.
What happened?
I had a bad issue with my back, and I know Tony. We spar work with each other. The fight was all planned. I was ready to take it and everything, and then. This my lower back was just, and I think it was. It could have been a few different things that caused it. There were different times in the past that I would start camps late, or be slightly overweight. You know what I mean? And have to try to rush into shape, and it would take me forever, and that extra weight would cause that. But in this case, I wasn't overweight. I was already in shape. I was starting to work, but it just, I don't know, it just came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And it gave me a real issue to go in there. I'm not going to go and fight a guy at that level at that time without being 100%. You know what I mean? That's the worst thing you can do, and then what happens when you get a loss? You know what I mean? And it's attributed to that issue, that your bad back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's stupid. You know what I mean? So I just said, you know what? I said, you let him go ahead and do what he's going to do. I'm gonna make a full recovery, and then we'll see what we can do after that. So I think at that point, I had went and I was about to sign, and then I had signed, I think with the main event, if I'm not mistaken, not too long after that. Because I was at the time I was with Goosen. At the time of the Thompson fight, we were talking about that.
So is there any chance of you two ever meeting in the ring though still?
I really don't know. I don't think so. I mean, we're not, right now we're not, in each other's way. You know what I'm saying? Though, like I said, though we're cool and we, friends that we work together, we've helped each other at different times. It's a business, and I'm sure they'll say the same thing. If it was an opportunity for a world title fight to get those belts and make some good money, I'm pretty sure he'll look at me like, man, you gotta be crazy if you don't take this fight. You know what I'm saying? But right now, there's no situation like that with me and him.
Okay,
but if there was an opportunity for us both to make a good, like I said, a good payday, along with having an opportunity to get a title, why not?
So speaking of people being in your way, who's some of the U.S. fighters right now that you would like to get in the ring with, if possible?
Honestly, I mean, there's a lot of great names that I could throw out there. Of course, not everybody's gonna want a gun for the title because they're gonna make the most money, and you know what I mean. It's obviously you win the title, you're a world champion. So of course everybody's gonna say, hit Wilder. You know what I'm saying? Get Wilder. For me, I don't mind. I would take the fight. I'd be happy to get the fight, but obviously that's not something that's gonna be that simple for me just to get. You know what I mean? I'm not just gonna get a title shot walking in. You know what I mean? That's not how it happens. So, but honestly, I have no preference. You know what I mean? Anybody who knows me, knows that I don't really care. You know what I mean? If you put me in there with somebody, I wouldn't have anything to say negative, like, oh, I don't like that fighter. The only situation I would say is, look, if I know the person and we're not making good money, what's the point in fighting them when there's a whole lot of other fights that I can go out with people that I've never met, that have no connection with, never trained with, never done this. There's too many fighters that are in that position that I can fight, that I don't have to go through that particular person. That's the only time. Other than that, I don't care. You can put me in there with anyone, and I'll be prepared to fight. I'm not the kind of person that will pick fights. I'm not like, oh yeah, I'd rather fight that guy. I'd rather fight that guy. No, just put me in whatever you got, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I want to know if this is true. Do a lot of the Philadelphia fighters, do they not like to fight each other?
I've seen, different fights that have happened with, you say you don't like to fight each other, is that what you said?
Yeah, because I've heard that before, that some of the Philadelphia fighters, they try to avoid each other because, you guys are all from the same area, so you don't want to really fight each other. You want to get out and fight other people. Like, you got Cunningham right now in the heavyweight division. You got Bryant Jennings. You got you.
Yeah.
I mean, if the money was right, would you get in there with Steve Cunningham or Jennings right now?
Well, it's like this. I don't think that's true. Most of the time, you see there's a fight with Amir Mansour and Steve Cunningham actually was a couple fights ago. And they're both all from the same area, basically. So they actually train with Amir trains at the Joanne's, and I think Steve I don't know if he was training at Shooters at the time, but he was training somewhere else and close by in Philly if it wasn't Shooters. So I mean, that's Philly on Philly fight. There's a ton of Philly on Philly fights that don't happen. Not even just locally. Sometimes on a bigger scale. So it's not necessarily that we don't want to fight each other. But when you look at it, you got somebody who's, unless we're rated in the same organization, you know how that goes. If we're rated in the same organization and there's no way around it, and we're gonna make money, why not? I don't see that being a problem. But I do have a problem with somebody who wants to be the champion of Philadelphia. That's not what it's about. We're trying to be the champion of the world. I don't think that anyone who cares too much about street cred as much as they do about having money in their pockets, changing their families' lives, and winning a world title and becoming an icon and leaving a great legacy in the sport. You know what I mean? I don't mind, like I said, if there was a situation where I had to fight them and like I said, we're making good money, why not? Friends, we can still be friends after. I think Holyfield and Bowe were friends, wasn't it? But you couldn't tell if they were fighting. So you know what I mean? That doesn't matter. Like I said, business is business. But if it's just about, okay, let's get these two guys in the ring together to save money, no. Save money for what? Pay us. Yeah, I know him. That's like as a friend or somebody I've been working with for years, and we've been helping each other get to the top. Now you want us to fight for $5G? Like, no, I'm not doing that. Give me me somebody else. I'll fight somebody else for 5,000 maybe, but I'm not fighting him for 5,000.
Okay.
You know, give me somebody who's worth 5,000. He's worth a little bit more, I think, than that, and so am I.
Okay, well, you actually just brought up Riddick Bowe, so I want to ask you a question about that real quick. There was did he actually call you out last year? Was that serious?
I think Bowe was calling everybody out. I think he just wanted to get a fight. He was trying to get a fight. He wanted to fight so bad. It was funny, man. He wanted to fight anybody. And the funny thing is, I think at one point he was down there training with somebody. My dad was training a couple of heavyweights down there. And he actually went down there and was doing some sparring with him. So I was hearing some stuff about, him talking down there. He was telling him, not talking bad or anything, but it's just, some of the conversations he was having about, possibly about me and different fights that he could have, and what he talked about me. It wasn't even bad stuff; it was good stuff. But I think Bowe was just really trying to get into it, and not a lot of people. They're not trying to give him the license to fight now. He's a little bit older, and they want to see, okay, if you want to fight at this age, you got to prove to us that you're going to be, you're going to be okay in there. And I guess they're advising against it because they don't see it, as a possibility for him. Like he just, in his time, one of the best ones that lace the gloves up. But obviously now that's not even, he's not even showing that. So you gotta be careful, and sometimes you gotta make hard decisions to keep these guys and from hurting themselves.
Okay. Well, I got one question left, and then I'm going to end the interview, and then I want you to say something to your fans and your followers. But this is just kind of off-the-wall question here. I know you were in a video game, the Fight Night Round 4. I want to know, do you own that video game? And when you play it, do you play as yourself or somebody else?
I own that video game. I had first of all, I had 2 copies when it came out, obviously. But, of course, it's been some years now since it's been out, and I haven't played it in a while. And don't get me wrong, when you find out you're first on a video game, and especially me, I'm a gamer, so when you find that out, man, I'm on this game. I don't care what my rating is. As long as I'm on here, that means I have arrived. So when that happened, I played it probably more than anything I've ever played and yes, I did do a career. I had a career mode, of course, and I'm using me. I'm not using anyone else. I changed a few things to update my whole, not my resume, but my equipment and everything. And then I went on there with a career. So, absolutely, I had to.
All right.
You know what I mean? Now, recently with my friends of mine. Now, though, see, when I play head-to-head, I don't like to use myself. I don't. Even though I know I'll probably win because I know how to do it. I know different tactics and stuff like that work with. Not no cheating tactics, but just basic boxing stuff that I kind of understand. You can actually carry over into the video game if you really pay attention. But I still don't like to use that because I don't want to lose. I know what my rating is, and I know that if I get hit too hard, I'm going down, even though I've only been down once in my career. You know what I'm saying? It's just that way. So I'm like, all right, let me just go ahead and play. I don't even want to play with heavyweights because I know I'll be tempted. So I'm like, we're not even playing with heavyweights. We're going to play whatever weight you want other than heavyweight. Ask everybody, even my man Coach Ant, one of the best men in the area, in the business, really, and also a great trainer. We were just playing over after the Adrian Browne and Sean Ford fight. We was over there playing it. And I ain't played in a while, but they were talking about, let's play heavyweight. He wants you to know, no, we're not playing heavyweight. We won't play welterweight or something else. We can go light heavyweight, but we're not going heavyweight. No, sir.
All right, well, Eddie, I want you to say something to your fans and your supporters, and then we're going to end it.
Okay, well, I just appreciate the long-time fans, the ones that I see, on different social media outlets, continuously, rocking with me, wanting to see me do well, and I appreciate you, and I'm definitely going to continue to do this, and hopefully make you proud as soon as possible. Try to get to another world title, but one of those real world titles, I guess. I don't want to say now, the other one wasn't real, but I'm definitely going to try to do you proud, try to finish my career off with a real bang. So appreciate you. Keep tuning in, and we're going to do some big things.
All right, and the truth has spoken.